Okay, thank you, everyone. Welcome to the June 23rd, 2021 Reimagining Public Safety Community Task Force meeting. We will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5:41. And I will now do a roll call. Helen Burks. Okay, we'll come back to her because I know she's here. Marisol Cantu.
Here.
Eddie Chacon.
Here.
Luis Chacon.
Sorry, Helen Burks is here. I apologize. Couldn't unmute fast enough.
Here.
Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, Luis Chacon, you said here. Don Gosney.
Here.
DeWanda Joseph. Randy Joseph.
Here.
Kristen Killian Lobos.
I'm here.
James Lee. Armand Lee.
I'm here.
Laura Mangles. Marcus Ingesang.
Here.
Joey Schlemmer.
Here.
Deborah Small. Andres Soto. Ben Terrio. David Tucker. Tamisha Walker. Linda Whitmore.
Here.
And BK Williams. As if people come in as we are meeting, if Stephanie or Lupe, if one of you could please let me know in the chat. Personally, that way I can take them off the list when I'm, or make sure I'm calling out their name when I'm doing any role, additional roles. Thank you. So right now we are doing agenda review and adoption. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as it stands?
I move to adopt the agenda as it stands.
Second.
Did you second it already, Marcus?
I did. Second,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I beat you.
sorry.
I beat you this
You
time.
beat me to it. Okay.
Okay, so Burks,
Aye.
Cantu,
Aye.
Eddie Chacon,
Yes.
Luis Chacon.
Yes.
Gosney.
Yes.
Randy Joseph.
Yes.
Killian Lobos.
Yes.
Armand Lee.
Aye.
Ingesang.
Yes.
Schlemmer.
To approve tonight's agenda?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Whitmore.
Yes.
11 ayes and 9 absent. So to go over the meeting procedures, participants who would like to speak during public comment or on an agendized item, you can, when that time period is called, and if you're on video conference, you can click the participants button at the bottom of your screen and select the raise your hand button. To request to speak when those items are announced. Attendees will have 2 minutes to click the raise your hand button at that time, and speakers will be called upon in the order that they are received. And when you're called upon, you will be unmuted and speakers will be allowed to have 1 minute of public comment. If you're calling in from your telephone, you can raise your hand by pressing the *9 to request to speak during those times. There is also a procedure for written comments, and we do have 1 written comment this evening. And we will begin the public comments section of the agenda. So at this time, if there is anyone attending who would like to speak during public comment, we will have 2 minutes to raise your hand and 1 minute to speak.
Okay, we do have 1 public comment. Lupe, can you pull up the timer, please? Thank you. Our first speaker is Katrinka Ruck. Katrinka, you have 1 minute to speak and you can start now.
Thank you, Mr. Henn. You don't have to read my comment. I think the task force got a copy of it. I was just going to thank the task force for all the hours you have put in. And the main gist of my email was very interested in the implementation team and working with you to find out how we're going to address the gaps in coverage that the RPD can't perform because they can't fill those positions. So I'm hoping that the recommendations and the programs that you all are looking into can address these gaps, because I think that that is going to allay some of the concerns of the neighborhood folk, residents, and businesses. So interested in the next step, which is the implementation process. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carol Johnson. Carol, you have 1 minute to speak. You can start now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just would like to offer condolences to the people who were there at the Father's Day shooting, and also it's really disheartening that people would actually physically go to the family or to the house and talk to the people and tell them that the police are being defunded and that's why these shootings are going to happen. You know, that is really not the time or the place to be talking politics or even giving misinformation, because we all know that the police are not being defunded. Only 3 million is being requested or reallocated. So again, that was incredibly inappropriate to be coming at a horrible time like that to talk about other people's agendas. I yield my time.
Thank you. And the 2 minute time period to raise your hand is over. Our last speaker is Mike Parker. Mike, you have 1 minute to speak. You can start now.
Thank you. Mike Parker, Richmond resident. I wanted to thank the task force for doing what I think was a great job under very, very difficult circumstances. You had people who were basically distorting what the task force was proposing, including some of the members of the task force itself. The main thing that the task force accomplished was setting up and starting some programs that almost everybody in the community agrees are really important and really should be done by people other than the police. We're talking about homeless work, youth training, and answering mental health calls. So thank you very, very much for your hard work and sort of getting those programs going. And I think you should just keep moving on that and not worry about the naysayers who are sort of spreading all these rumors about the destruction of the police. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the end of our public comment, although I do see Luis had his hand raised as well.
I also would like to mention to Katrinka that your email was sent in as a public comment, so I did not disseminate that information to the members. We haven't had any members of the public want to send anything to them directly. I can have I can go ahead and your email will be attached to the minutes for this meeting, and so they will be made public, and that's how the members of this task force will receive them. Okay, Luis.
Yeah, thank you. It's just more of an announcement, just regarding the victims from Sunday's event. I have family members that are directly connected to some of the folks, and they are gathering funds for funeral services in Guatemala. So if anyone would like to directly donate funds, you can get in contact with me, and I can connect you with them. So thank you.
So that conclude, oh, Joey.
Sorry, I just wanted to just provide Luis a little bit of, I don't know if they're using GoFundMe or not, but I'm not a big fan of GoFundMe. They take a good percentage of the money that's collected, and even in obtaining the money can be a nightmare. If you have the ability, my suggestion is to set up an account at a local bank.
Yeah, it's very informal. So it's like it's literally been calling folks, and folks take cash. Or we do have direct contact info for the family in Guatemala. So if folks feel more comfortable sending it directly to Guatemala, that can be an option. Otherwise, it's kind of a situation where a family member is like collecting cash and will be sending it directly.
Thank you for that. So we will be concluding public comments at this time. And we're going to move on to staff reports. And normally I would ask Jim to go ahead and speak first, but I'm going to take his normal spot, and because he may want to say something after I finish my staff report. But first I would like to talk about, I've been saying every meeting for you guys to consider checking out. Stephanie's been amazing at creating really pretty documents and super nice things for us to look at. And she's been really great about keeping the website organized. And she's uploaded a kind of one-stop shop document on the website called the Resource Hub. And if you go in there, it's a great area for you to maybe direct people to if they have questions or if they want to get more information about this process here and nationally, and some policies and papers and some videos that have been submitted to the task force. We've stuck them in there so that way the public can have them. That's one item. And then I wanted to also talk about, if you didn't have a chance to attend the Richmond City Council meeting last night, there was on the agenda a presentation from Vice Mayor Johnson regarding reparations and the city's race equity team. We preceded his presentation to discuss our race equity action plan that we've been working on for quite some time. And we just kind of did a highlight of what we're doing, the plan itself, and then our new partnership that we're starting with the LEAP office and the Y plan. And I just wanted to let everyone know that it's some, you may be hearing people refer to that as like the GARE team, but we are working diligently to rebrand ourselves as the City of Richmond Race Equity Team. It's more explicit and it's easier for people to figure out what we're doing. So if you hear GARE, it's interchangeable with the Race Equity Team. And I invite you all to maybe take a look at that presentation at some point. And we are looking for residents to be a part of the advisory committee, of which I will be a part of. And I will also be, through my work with the Healthy Richmond and the Economic Justice Action Team, be maintaining my role as assisting with community engagement and outreach campaigns. And I'm saying all that to say that my role will be changing with them a little bit due to the fact that I have resigned from the city of Richmond. And my last day in the office will be July 2nd. So just to let you all know, I know some of you may have already known through the grapevine, but so yeah, that's it. That's it for staff reports. So Jim, if you had anything to add.
Sorry to hear that, Joanne. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey. I'll be around. You can't get rid of me yet.
Hey, talk about mic drop. And so that's it. Really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let me just add to the staff report that I know from the staff that I've had the opportunity to work with, everybody was so impressed with the job that Joanne has done in this role. I believe it's a pretty Herculean effort that she's taken on. I have been very complimentary of the credibility that she has established with all of you, your ability to rely on her and to have confidence in her being able to follow up and handle your needs is very, very commendable. So she's been a real mainstay, obviously, and you know that even better than I do because you've been involved for the last 10 months. I've only been involved for the last 5. So Joanne, thank you so much for the dedication on this very difficult task that you were asked to take on.
Well, thank you, Jim. And I'll be honest with you guys, I had my whole little speech prepared and I left it on my desk. And so now I'm so nervous and like just choked up. But I will say that sometimes when certain doors close, others open. And I will say that some doors had closed for me at the city, but then the opening came for me to be able to assist on this particular, on the task force. And so it has really, really, really taught me a lot. I've grown professionally and personally. And then I've also learned a lot just about procedures. And I also have really felt privileged to work with each and every single one of you. And even the folks that aren't here tonight, each of you have brought something, no matter how small or large or big or how much work or effort you feel like that you want to do more, you don't feel like you're doing enough, you know, all of those things. I know how this is it's a heavy lift, and you guys are an amazing group of people, and I really just want to thank all of you. And I see Randy has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for all the work. You getting started something that was brand new from the ground up and going through all the travel tribulations with your head high and being strong enough to stay in there through all the good moments and the bad. So really appreciate that. Like I said, I can't wait to work with you forward in the next phase of that, especially with the race and equity stuff with the city of Richmond. I can't wait for that part to get started and to work with that with you. So I want to thank you for all your hard work, and I appreciate it. And good luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be around because I still live in Richmond. Linda.
Okay. No, I want to echo what Randy just said and Jim. Thank you so much. You made it easy for me to kind of maneuver my way around, and I appreciate that so much. You didn't make me feel like I was asking a question that was too small or or shouldn't be asked. So thank you, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors. Like you said, one door closes, next door opens. I hope that door opens wide for you. Okay, and you have keep that smile, okay, and enjoy your next adventure. Thank you so much.
It's gonna have to be wide to hold this smile. I can't fit through doors as big as my smiling.
Open all the way for you. So thank you again, though, from my heart. Thank you.
Joey. Oh, you lowered your hand. Okay, so.
Oh, sorry. I think the chat, there may be an issue with the chat. Can we just double check and make sure that the chat's available for folks to use, please? If someone
I'm getting chats, but I mean, normally we ask that you all don't chat, but you should be able to.
Okay, I'm not receiving anything on my end.
Are you trying to chat with an attendee or another panelist? Joey?
Either.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have it
please,
disabled
please,
for attendees.
please don't chat with other members of the committee, of the
Yeah.
task force in the chat, because that is outside of people who may or may not have access to the chat and is therefore outside the scope of the meeting. So if you're going to chat with someone, make sure it is not a committee member, a task force member. Probably the best way is not to chat at all.
And Joey, you know, I've been fussing about that this entire time. So I didn't know it, but thank you. So we are going to go ahead and move into our presentations, discussions, and action items. And the first item on the agenda is to discuss the June 15, 2021 and the June 22nd, 2021 City Council meetings. And I was just following the last few agendas and putting these on here because I know that you all haven't had come together as a group since the City Council voted on option E. And then I wasn't quite sure if there would be anything from last night that was relevant to this task force. So if maybe Jim wanted to make some comments and if you guys had anything to talk
Hey,
about.
Joanne, I will really defer to the group's desires. I think maybe all of you are really aware of what happened on the 15th. I have a little bit of a PowerPoint that I could go through quickly if people were not there to understand what it came down to, what the final decision was. But if you all feel like you're well informed and I don't need to take time to do that now, I'm happy to defer and go on to the next item.
Going once, going twice. Okay,
I think we'll take that as sold, right? Nobody really.
Right. And so we're done. We're done with that item. We're going to open it up to public comment. And if there's anyone in the audience or in the attendees, excuse me, that would like to speak on this particular item or has a comment about those particular city council meetings, you will have 2 minutes to raise your hand. And in that time period, you will be called upon in the order that your hands are raised, and you will have 1 minute to speak. And the 2 minutes is starting, Lupe, now.
Okay, we have a public comment. Can you pull up the timer, please, Lupe? The first speaker is Chris Broglio. Chris, you have 1 minute to speak, and you can start now.
This is Chris Broglio, and I am a member of the Richmond Progressive Alliance. The Richmond Progressive Alliance is going to have a public panel this coming Saturday at 2 public to hear the speakers that we have. And I'd like to post the invitation to the chat. It's a little easier that way, but I don't know how to do that. We're inviting the general public to celebrate the success of the Richmond Public Safety Task Force in having Measure E adopted by the City Council. We want to make these changes long-lasting. We want to make these changes possible to continue. And we're concerned that the municipal election may go the other way. Thank you.
Thank you. And 2 minute time period is up. That was our last public speaker.
Thank you. And if you would like, sir, you can send an email to any of the staff that's listed on the agenda, and they will disseminate the information to the task force members for the invitation. So now we will go ahead to discuss the meeting schedule of the extended period from July 1, 2021 through September 30, 2021. And this item is on here in order to get a consensus from the group as to whether you would like to maintain the current schedule of meeting the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month, or if you, as a group, think that you can, because you are moving into implementation and depending on what happens with the budget meeting, how, if you would like to go down to one meeting per month or some other schedule.
Has it been, hi, it's Kristen. Has it been determined how many times the implementation committee will be meeting? And when?
No, I think it's going to be similar to the subgroups. It's up to their discretion. It could be at some periods 10 times a week if they need to, and then others 1 time a week. I mean, I don't, yeah. Linda, go ahead.
You know, well, the rate we're going right now, I think maybe if we meet once a month, and then maybe, I know at our last meeting, the implementation team, and I'm not on it, so I'm just saying what I heard at the last meeting, they were trying to, it's kind of hard finding a time for all of them to get together. So maybe the other day that we were meeting, use one of those days for implementation team to meet. It's already scheduled on your calendar, well, because we've been meeting twice a month. So one of those days could be used maybe for implementation, and we can meet once a month. And if it gets to a point where we feel we need to have another meeting, I guess we could decide and vote on another meeting that, you know, that month. But I suggest once a month and using the other day for the implementation team.
Anyone else? Kristen?
Yeah, I'm just, it seems to me the whole body of the task force would probably be getting a report from the implementation team. It seems like once a month would be adequate for that. And as would it also would be appropriate, right? If we're not on the implementation team, but we want to sit in on the Zoom meeting with them and listen in, I mean, we're free to do that, correct?
As long as it's not over a quorum. And they already have 8 people.
I got it, okay.
I mean, I know it's a consideration. I just, I know that you guys have been doing, or you folks have been at this for a long time. And just based on where everything is in the process, it's just an option. It's not a requirement to reduce it. But Jim?
I just wanted to comment. I think we might want to get a sense from the subcommittee comments tonight about what they are working on. I don't know how many subcommittees still have things that they want to develop for recommendation to the full task force. You know, if there's a number of those things, we probably will need more than one meeting a month. But if for the most part, people have just 1 or 2 things they're still working on and not a lot, maybe that's fine. Another idea is to pick one of the meetings as our for sure meeting, and the other one, just keep it on your calendar in case we need it. We can always cancel it. In other words, it's so much harder to schedule a meeting than it is to take advantage of one and just cancel it if we don't need it. So that's another option. Thank you.
Don?
To address the conversation you had with Kristen about attending the Zoom meetings of the implementation committee, perhaps Bruce can weigh in. I thought the Brown Act allowed people to attend the meeting without being in violation of the Brown Act, as long as they did not participate in the meeting. Am I incorrect on that, Bruce?
Bruce?
Okay.
We'll come back to that. It's my understanding.
Maybe Bruce is having turkey dinner with Jim.
What was that? What was that?
Joey is never going to let you live that down, Jim. Bruce, the question was if
I'm
a
sorry, I was
sub-
on a phone call.
That's okay. We get it. The question was if a subgroup of the task force is meeting and if other members would like to come and attend, even if it's over a quorum, as long as they're not participating in the meeting, it's okay? Or,
Nope, nope. If more than a quorum gets together, it's a meeting.
yeah. So
Okay.
there's 8 people on that meeting. So they
So,
cannot have any
yeah,
more.
you know, we had this before
I know.
when I first came to the city, where the city council was having a meeting, and one member decided, oh, because this is more than a quorum, I'm a committee meeting, I'm going to go sit in the audience so that somebody else can speak. And it was like, no, that's not, you know, once the 4th or 5th council person was there, it was considered a quorum.
Thank you. I got it.
Okay.
Luis and then Joey.
Oh, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had sent an email earlier proposing Monday. I didn't realize that the budget subcommittee meets on Monday. So I like Linda's idea about meeting. If I understand it correctly, it would be like every other week for the implementation subcommittee to meet, right? Starting July 7th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if, I mean, I like the idea. And then, because then also as a member of the health and safety subcommittee, like then that would still allow us to meet on Monday and do any necessary kind of work.
I wasn't clear on that, but so you were thinking that you would like to suggest the implementation team meet on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday? And then
I had because I had originally said Mondays, but then I realized for the budget subcommittee that wouldn't work. So now I'm saying I like Linda's proposal about meeting, I guess 1st and 3rd Wednesdays.
Well, Linda, is your proposal to maintain the 2nd Wednesday of the month for the task force and then using the 4th Wednesday of the month for the implementation team?
Right. So we would meet once a month as a safety task force group. And then the 4th Wednesday would be for the implementation team to meet. So we would only meet once a month.
Yeah.
And then like Jim was saying, we could always decide to, I guess, meet if we have to, meet again that month. But right now,
I just know
like
that a lot of people are doing, oh, sorry.
Most of the information right now is going to be on the shoulders of the implementation team. And they would get, if we flip it and they meet on that, the 1st, the 2nd, and we meet on the 4th, then they would get a chance to meet, discuss, get information together and bring it back to our meeting on the 4th. So that they can bring stuff to us instead of doing it the other way around. Implementation can meet on the 2nd Wednesday, discuss information that they have to get together, and then prepare the report that they're going to do. And then on the 4th Wednesday, we meet as a subgroup, and the implementation team can present information to us that they've discussed and found out about. And we still can do our information that we have from our subgroups during our 4th meeting. So we meet once a month. So we still can bring things back to this committee.
I guess I misunderstood because I think we need to meet more than once a month for implementation.
Oh yeah, you can add more days. I'm just giving you one of ours. You can right, you can add more to that. Yeah, you can meet 2nd, 3rd, or whatever. But I was saying take one of our days and let us meet once a month right now and see how it goes. We might decide after 2 months that we need to. It's not working.
Mm-hmm. And I just look, because it has been like a few people have come to me and said, now that we're, done the recommendations, it's not to say that you guys cannot continue making recommendations to the council. You could do that anytime. The subgroups will still be meeting. Implementation will be meeting whenever you need to. The question was, does the task force as a whole, as a body of a whole, need to continue meeting twice per month? Joey, and then Marisol.
So I have a few thoughts on it, and I think the committee as a whole, I think, can meet once a month. The second and the fourth Monday, as I discussed with the implementation team earlier, my concern is it conflicts with the current schedule for the budget subcommittee. So it's a little
Well,
disappointing.
right now, I just want to talk about the task force as a whole, the body as a large. Meeting schedules for the subgroups can be discussed within your groups. But I think Linda was just trying to offer up one of her days or one of the days.
Okay, well, if you can just bear with me.
Okay, I just didn't want to.
No, yeah, and I don't want to make things complicated, but I think to answer your question directly about the committee as a whole, I think once a month is fine. If that's if that's the consensus. As far as the implementation team, because I think it's important, and it's a little disappointing that more folks aren't here, but I'll share this with Marisol, and maybe you can reach out with some of the other budget subcommittee folks. My suggestion is we could do one of two things, because I think the implementation at this point really is more of a priority than anything else. Perhaps the budget subcommittee can move to the first and third Monday of the month, and the implementation team can take the second and fourth the second and fourth Monday of the month.
Okay, Marisol.
Hi, I motion that the task force meeting moves to once a month, meeting on the second Wednesday at the same time.
Okay, before you make your motion, can I ask that Don go ahead and make his comment? Or Bruce, he's not even here, because I don't want to be out of order, but yeah, Marisol, go ahead.
But what you need to do is see if there's a second to the motion. And
Yes,
then,
thank you.
then you can
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay.
And now time
Don?
for discussion.
Don?
I'm sorry. As I understand it, and please correct me if I've been misunderstanding things, that the implementation committee is working directly with staff to help the city to actually implement these recommendations. And then they are reporting back to the full task force, just reporting back to us. They're not asking us to take action on something that they've already negotiated or worked out with the city staff. So if we're just here to hear reports, the question is, do we have to do, or do we need to do that twice a month, or is once a month sufficient? Or should we just wait and see what is reported at the city council meeting to learn about it?
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna open this up for public comment so then we can take a vote.
Can I ask a question before we do that? Quick question. When you amend someone's motion, do you do it after the second or after the before the vote, right?
After
if you're gonna amend the I'm sorry, Joanne, you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead. Because
if you want to amend the motion, you do it after the second, because the motion's not official until it has been seconded.
Okay.
And then the maker of the motion and the second have to accept the friendly amendment.
Okay.
Or the amendment.
Okay.
And
So
if they don't, then the amendment dies.
Okay. So I just wanted to I agree we should, can I make my friendly amendment now before we go to the public?
And then Marisol
Yes.
and who?
Yeah, you
Okay,
make the friendly
so
amendment. Wait, excuse me.
I'm
You
sorry.
make the friendly amendment, you get a second, and then if they accept it, you vote on the amendment.
Okay. I would like to just move it from the second Wednesday to the fourth Wednesday for us to meet, to give the implementation team a chance to get together. You're having problems on their Mondays and stuff, and you can meet as many times as you want, but at least you know you have one day that's set. That Wednesday, second Wednesday, you can meet, discuss, and then we'll meet on the fourth Wednesday, and you can bring back information to us.
Linda, this is a difficult amendment to, to vote on. Yeah, like it's kind of long. So your friendly amendment, if I can, you would like to make the friendly amendment that the meeting of the General Task Force meeting be held on the fourth Wednesdays.
Accepted.
Does she have a second? Okay, Marisol seconded. So we're gonna open it up for public comment. So the public has.
I accept the amendment.
Sorry.
Marcus needs to also
Yeah,
accept
exactly.
the amendment.
Oh,
I accept.
oh, sorry, pardon me. I thought you seconded it first.
No,
because she needs a second before you can accept it.
But Bruce said that the original motion and the person who seconded has to agree with the friendly amendment.
Right. And so now you could.
I agree.
I'm sorry, Joanne, to confuse you guys.
No, but you also had mentioned that Linda needed a second before it was accepted, right?
Right.
So I thought that Marisol was seconding it.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Okay, I think we're okay.
And now we're looking for the maker of the original motion and the seconder of the original motion to agree with the amendment, right?
That's correct. And I think Marcus just said he agreed with it.
I do. And Marisol.
As did I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so now we can open it up to public forum. And when you vote on the motion, you will be voting on it being on the
fourth
Wednesday
Wednesday
of the month.
Yes.
And you guys are killing me. No, I just have another. I have another meeting on the fourth Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay, so the attendees, you will now have a 2-minute time period to speak on this item or on the motion.
On the second and the fourth.
Okay, we have one public comment. Michelle Hayes, you have 1 minute to speak and you can start now.
Well, I don't really, I'm in a lot of meetings myself. So when you make a motion, shouldn't you ask questions first? Are there any questions? And then if there's no questions, then you take the motion or whatever, and then ask for a second, so that all of this stuff would be more fluent. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, that's just making a comment, so you guys, make your suggestion or whatever, your motion, and you ask for questions. If there's no questions, then you ask for a second. And then it would be, all in favor. That's all.
Thank you. So we're gonna do a roll call to see who would like to vote on, or for the vote on the motion to have the General Task Force meeting on the fourth Wednesday of every month. Burks.
Aye.
Cantu.
Yes.
Eddie Chacon.
Yes.
Luis Chacon.
Yes.
Ghazni.
Sure, why not?
Randy Joseph.
Yes.
Killian Lobos.
Yes.
Armand Lee.
Aye.
I see James Lee is now here.
Yes.
Mangles. Oh, sorry, she's out. Schlemmer.
Aye.
Sorry, you
Just
guys,
get me.
I can't see. Pardon?
Just get me.
I cannot see. I need my glasses on. And just saying.
Yes.
Whitmore.
Yes.
$12 ayes and 8 absent. So your meeting schedule beginning July will be on the 4th Wednesday. Did I skip you too, Schlemmer?
No, Joanne, I just had a quick question. Based on the vote, we have 20 committee members right now, not 21?
That's correct. There's one vacancy.
Okay, thank you.
I think I may have. Okay. Now we will receive reports from task force subcommittees. And I believe there's at least one person from every subcommittee. And if your subcommittee does or does not have a report, just let us know. So the accountability as safety subgroup.
We don't have a report
Okay.
or an update at this time. We met with the chief last Friday about the Green Key proposal. We're going to be with her again, hopefully next Friday, to answer some questions, and then maybe come back with a recommendation depending on the outcome. And then we're working on the dispatcher recommendation too. So we're still working on that, and hopefully we come back to the full group with recommendations. Other than that, no reports.
Thank you. Community-based solutions.
Yeah, we have Bukai here who is with YouthWorks, who will be doing a report back on just the updates with YouthWorks. Bukai, I'm not sure if you're here or not.
Oh, I'm here. Hi. I'm gonna say good.
Hi.
I'm losing my day. I'm so tired. I just finished our orientation, our first orientation with our work site. We are in the middle of placing about 175 youth as of today. We will continue to recruit and put more people to work. So please keep them coming if you want any youth to participate in the summer youth employment. Joanne, you're laughing.
Sorry, no. Pardon me. Excuse me.
No, that's okay. I thought you may have a question. So if you have
no, I was because you're tickling me when you were saying how you're losing your day and then you're like walking around.
I'm still at the office. I just thought I would put it on my phone so I can actually go home, but I'm still here. So I just want to check in to see if you guys have any question in regards to our process. And I think Eddie and Luis was in the meeting, right?
Yeah, and I would just want to share real quick that it was really amazing. There was over 50 people, a bunch of new work sites who are applying for the first time, some returning work sites who have just been sharing wonderful things about YouthWorks, and so I just wanted to uplift that real quick.
Oh yes, thank you. So we actually have more than 50 work sites that signed up. We have at least about 74 work sites. Not all the work sites were able to attend our first orientation. However, we are looking for more young people to place. Some of those work sites are requesting like up to 5-10 young people. So the one that have not gotten the work agreement, they would have to wait until the second cohort later on in July. However, youth, we are accepting youth year round because we have other programs that's running as well. I mean, that's my update for now.
Is there anything else from the subgroup or?
Yeah, and I do want to also check in to see what other things should we implement, but I also wanted to make sure that we are for sure that the budget are coming through and that we have that money to move forward with what the reimagining is goal.
Linda?
Yeah, I just wanted to, two things. Can we get information from, I'm sorry, from you
Okay.
about the businesses, how they can apply if they want to get youth to work for them? And also, if we know of youth, of young people who might want to apply, so if we can get information sent to this group, maybe all might have it, but I'd like to have that. I can distribute that in my neighborhood,
Okay.
to businesses that I know in this neighborhood that might want to hire.
Okay. Should I send it to the Reimagine group, that whole email, or Eddie and Luis, do you guys want to forward those information?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll definitely forward that over to the rest of the task force.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Off to a good start. That's great. Thank you.
Can we funnel stuff through staff? I don't want task force members communicating like that, because it could be a violation of the Brown Act.
Okay.
So if you
How
have
about we put it on our website?
yes, you could do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So what?
I'll send it to you too.
Okay. So who should I send it to? I don't want to break any rules as well. Also, to send it to Joanne. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
At least until July 2nd, you could send it to Joanne.
What? Why? Then who do I send it to after?
Okay, you weren't here when I made my announcement?
No, she wasn't here.
I was in my own meeting.
Oh, I resigned.
Okay.
Randy, he has a question for you.
Well, I gotta follow that. It's unfair to me. No, I want to say so. First time being on the business side and being on the business side.
Yeah.
Being at that meeting, it was excited to hear people talk about the process, and I can't wait to have a young person be a part of that process and work with me at where I work at. And like I said, being on it from the youth side, like from your side, being on the board, seeing how that process works, and now to be on the other side, see how that works. I thought that was amazing, and people talk about it. So I can't wait to get started and to start. I know we talked about, shadowing the youth, let them do video diaries to tell them how they like the process and going forward. So I can't wait for this process to show how
Perfect.
to be promoted. So thank you very
Oh
much.
no, I forgot you were on there too. That's right. I was really excited to see that you guys came on board to participate and be the work site, so you understand the other hard side of the story of our work, the process.
Right.
Okay. Any other question?
Is there any other report from the remainder of the subgroup? If not, I will open it up to public comment.
No report, or I don't know if any other folks have anything they want to share.
Okay, so if the attendees would like to make a comment regarding the community-based solutions report, you will have 2 minutes to raise your hand and 1 minute to speak at this time.
Joanne, while we're waiting for the comments, we could tell Bukai she can go home now since she's tired and she needs to get some sleep.
Well, you can tell her, Jim.
That's what I'm trying to do. Go, Bukai, go home, get her some rest.
Okay, I'll listen, but I'm gonna step out for real. Meaning I'll carry this on. Thank you, Mr. Nantel.
Bye, sweetheart.
No, I'll stay on, but I'm gonna walk to my car.
You have a minute left for public comment. right, 2-minute timer is over.
Now we will hear from the Health and Safety Group.
Great. Thank you all. We actually have a couple of representatives from some of the programs that we've proposed to report back and summarize some of the work of to date. So first we have Daniel Barth and Allison Gill. If y'all are ready to share your piece.
Sure. Allison, you there too? This is Daniel. SOS Richmond, Safe Organized Spaces. And we've got Allison Gill, and she's does the heavy lifting on 2 of our projects. And so the update and I appreciate the opportunity to give a little bit of an update. I try not to go too long. But one of the more exciting things I think is that in addition to what the streets team is currently doing, we're moving a ton of trash a day, 4 or 5 days a week. And that's with our little bitty team. And so when we go from 12, which we're now expanding, we go up 20, 30, 40, I'm saying 60, I'm being hopeful. But when we start to employ our unsheltered neighbors doing the work across Richmond, it's going to look good. It's not going to be just that we're providing the basic amenities with sanitation and the hygiene, the showers, and doing bringing water to encampments and hopefully investing in toilets and black water removal at RV locations. And doing security, but we're going to be doing something that I would like to report on. And this is if we can scale up. And the first part of scaling up means having the organizational infrastructure to actually do this work. And so the first point would be that we need to have supervision happening not only in the afternoons and then me in the background trying to do a lot of the background work, but we would have 2 shifts that go from 1 p.m. to 3 a.m. And why would we be going from 1 p.m. to 3 a.m.? Because our predictable services that we do provide on a schedule happen in the afternoon, when folks are up and going, and we have our staff out there and our volunteers. We have probably half, if we have 12, like we do right now, staff, we have at least 6 volunteers, unsheltered folks who are volunteers, and most of them getting some stipends as they're training up to becoming staff. But if they're out there doing the work during the day, during the afternoon, and CORE is doing its work, the mobile outreach team is doing its work, getting folks to services and helping them to divert from the situations that they're in. Well, what happens after dark? What happens after dark is we need to be out there doing the work that otherwise police are forced to do, and public works, abatement and code enforcement, and the parks, all of their public sector work that otherwise would be done by them. We would like to take some of that load. And so we would like to be, and we know we can be, a real-time response team. So what we would have is 4 vehicles going out there, some of them doing the sanitation type work, but others would be teams of unsheltered folks who have been duly trained in like crisis de-escalation and conflict resolution and the activities, mental health first aid and so forth. The skills that we would need, we would hopefully build our team up so that we can be there responding to a situation that's happening on McDonald Avenue, and not like that minute, but that day we would be responding to situations that people are otherwise complaining about, and it ends up at city council meeting, and instead it should be handled where it belongs in the first place, and that is in the hands of, no, I'm doing a presentation right now, that's my kid, sorry, in the hands of the folks who have the cultural competency and have the neighborhood knowledge, and they have the relationships to do that. And you've heard me talk about all this, but my point is us being on the ground as a real-time response team and being available till 3 a.m. where we're not only providing security at hotspots like at the managed encampments that we're currently trying to do now, but we don't have sufficient resources to supervise, that then we would have the infrastructure and the team to be able to then work into the evening, into the night, at trouble spots, patrolling neighborhoods, locating ourselves for periods of time at problematic locations, like a bathroom that has drug dealing going on. We should be there stewarding that hotspot. And we could be expanding the collaboration that we're doing and deterring illegal dumping as it's happening. We can do a lot more of that kind of work. So that kind of streets team work is something that I'm looking forward to for us doing, and we have a plan to do it. And it's just about having the ability to do it. And so Alice is on with us, and we can give the update about what happened last night, because in addition to what we spoke about, what you spoke about already, is the scattered sites program that we've had an an urgency ordinance on city council directed staff to draw up an an urgency ordinance. I was on the East Coast this morning, so it's a little late for me. And they did that. And last night it was approved 6-1, and money was allocated towards the 1.8 million for doing this scattered site program, which I would call the secure sites off-street diversion of RVs from encampments to church parking lots and hopefully business parking lots in the near future, so that we can have folks on a month-to-month basis being in a secure location off street and have the support services. And the reason why I'm connecting the streets team with this new program is that in order for us to do this, we need the increased ability of our streets team to have that mobile engagement capacity to not only provide the navigation that needs to happen to get folks into housing locations, but also to be providing the basic amenities and the support that they need, that the human connection that they will need at those scattered site locations. Those scattered sites would have 1 to 4 households per parking lot, and we would hope to have 15. And that's what's allowed now, and hopefully it can expand from there. And so the pot of money that has been put out there that hopefully will be enabled, utilized soon, needs to have also an expanded streets team with supervision involved in order to maintain, in order to do that program. And then the other piece that and Allison, do you want to speak any more about the scattered sites program? Are you there? Are you able to talk? Maybe not. So, so the other piece that's really important is that we're in the process of trying to develop the transitional village model that this task force has promoted. And so that part, in order for us to do that, we need to have, and in order for us to expand our streets team, we need to have an organizational host. The SOS Richmond is not a nonprofit organization yet. And even if we were, that would mean nothing, because we don't have the organizational infrastructure. So we need an organization to help us build the scaffolding that we will need in order to have the ability to pull off some major program. And so Rebuilding Together East Bay North is going to be our host organization. We're in the process of negotiating that, and myself becoming the director of that piece for Richmond, representing their Richmond component. They're a Berkeley-based organization that has been investing in working in Richmond. And so we're excited to have that partnership, and for us to then have the organizational infrastructure, at least to have the management team to support our organization. So that's a little bit about what we've been up to lately. And if you have any questions, I guess I could leave it to that.
I think, Allison, are you unfrozen now?
Yes, I'm sorry, my internet just cut out for a moment.
No, it's okay, because Daniel asked if you wanted to add anything. I didn't want to miss that.
Did you talk about the transitional villages, Daniel? I'm sorry, I was my internet
Just
for a minute.
Just to the point of saying that rebuilding, I didn't say this, but Rebuilding Together, the reason why they're so important for the transitional villages is they're currently developing and implementing a transitional village in Berkeley. And so we are going to have their experience. They're going to be the subject matter experts that are going to allow for us to competently come in and develop that transitional village. And I'll pass it on to Alice.
Well, I think Daniel really covered most of it. You know, the transitional villages will be there for people who don't have vehicles, you know, who are living in tents or don't even have tents. And so, yeah, we see this as a good strategy, you know, for addressing homelessness in Richmond, as these 3 components that Daniel talked about, and I think he covered most of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the health and safety team who would like to add? Am I on the right one? Or no? Yeah, I'm on the right one.
Yeah,
I believe we're,
Marcus
Well,
got some.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
we can get that article. I just wanted to reiterate the importance of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and how it's been important with homicide reduction and also with cost savings. So it's really, I wanted to share this article. It was produced by the National Institute of Criminal Justice Reform, and it's really regarding the cost savings part of it, taxpayer savings part of it. And I'm not going to go through the whole article. I'm not going to read the whole article to you. And I believe this will probably be available on our shared drive, Joanne.
Probably the website in our resource hub.
Okay, so if you want, if you want to read this whole article, which is it's a short article, very interesting. It's very informative about the Office of Neighborhood Safety and how it's effective cost-wise. And so if you can go through the first part, just basically says it's about the history of Richmond and just how Richmond was once a very prosperous kind of shipbuilding town. And then after all that moved out, it talks about how there was a sharp, there's a real increase in crime, and once was considered, the most violent city per capita in California. But with the introduction of violence prevention programs, specifically the Office of Neighborhood Safety, and after the launch of the Peacemaker Fellowship, it's been credited with 70% decline in homicides. So very significant, effective program when it comes to violence and gun prevention. And but what this is really discussing is, if as you get further into the article, it talks about all the different agencies that have to report when there's a violent crime or when there's someone who's shot or a homicide. And you can see here, there's the fire department, there's EMTs, police department, the district attorneys have to, the court proceedings and things of that nature, and which is leads to a lot of times incarceration, which is a very, very high cost for taxpayers, for people being incarcerated due to gun violence or especially homicide. If we can go to the next page there. And you can see here, this is a cost breakdown. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can see here, crime scene responses is one part of the cost when it comes to homicide or gun violence. There's hospital stay, rehab, obviously, criminal justice. So you have, someone who's prosecuting somebody who's defense and court proceedings and things like that. That costs a lot of money. What I noticed from this article, one of the main costs is incarceration. It's a large percentage of tax money and costs for these kind of events. There's also victim support and then the lost tax revenue. We can go again here. We go to the next. We go to the next one, please. And here it breaks it down. So you can see here on the left-hand side, there's the cost of homicides and there's the cost of just injury shooting. And you can see here, it's much more for homicide, the cost per one suspect for injury shooting cost. So you see, it's an estimated $2.5 million per shooting, per homicide, and $939,000 per shooting. So again, if you go down, you can see incarceration is a major part of that cost, but there's also criminal justice, hospital, crime scene, victim support, and lost revenue. So it's not only is ONS a very effective way to prevent violence in the community, but it's also cost saving, is what this article is saying. And again, if you want to go read the article, Joanne and her friends there at the City of Richmond will put this on the share for you to read. And so I think that concludes. If you go to the next page, I think it's just these are all the sources that all this data came from. And so again, this is just to reiterate the importance of gun prevention programs like the Office of Neighborhood Safety, and to finalize what the point that we're making here. There's a video, there's a speech made by President Biden today, I believe, right, Louis? Today? That was today, right?
Today.
Mentions this very thing. So let's get that video going if we can. I believe Luis is going to share his screen, and it'll show the speech from President Biden. Play that bad boy.
We discussed the need to support community violence.
Can y'all hear it? Okay.
We discussed the need to support community violence intervention. These are local programs that utilize trusted messengers, community members and leaders to work directly with people who are most likely to commit gun crimes or become victims of gun crimes. We know who they are. They intervene before it's too late, these interrupters. Turn down the temperature, halt the cycle of retaliation, connect people to social services, and it works. Community violence intervention programs have shown a reduction in violence up to 60% in many places. We heard from 2 community leaders that do this work. Eddie, thank you for coming from Chicago. You were really, quite frankly, it was impressive, your presentation. And Devon Bogan from Richmond, California. Eddie was formerly incarcerated for gun homicide, and Devon lost his brother to gun violence. And Eddie worked as a violence interrupter. Now he runs a program that provides high-risk men with cognitive behavioral therapy to help them react to the impulses by slowing down rather than following through on the violence. It puts them in paid jobs to change their trajectory. The program has reduced shootings by 40%. Devon runs a program across California and 6 other states that enroll high-risk individuals in peace fellowships, complete with intensive mentoring and social services. It's saving lives.
Okay.
Thank you, Luis.
Yeah.
And again, I just thought it was, and thank you, Marisol, for the heads up. Good segue to what we were talking about there, as far as gun prevention and how it's made national. It's gotten national attention, these programs, and I just wanted to reiterate, and we just wanted to reiterate the importance of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and how it should be invested in and should be funded every year in and year out. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Before I go to Joey, is there anyone else from your group that has something to add?
Yes.
Because Joey, you have a question, right?
Well,
okay, go ahead, you guys.
We're going to go to Kristen
okay.
Lobos.
Yeah. I'm next. Hey, hello everyone. Good evening. Yeah, I wanted to give a report back on what's been happening at the county, Contra Costa County mental health level, so to speak. As the Health and Safety Subcommittee really felt like as our local City of Richmond community crisis response team started really developing and going to the City Council for vote and becoming more of a reality, we really felt like it was important to connect with county mental health. And I was not really very aware. I'd been hearing whispers that there was some redesigning of county mental health meetings happening. So we reached out. I was able to meet with 3 different people from county mental health and find out a lot more about what's been going on, which is really quite extraordinary. So the kickoff was in September of 2020 at the mayors. All the mayors come together for a conference. Was kind of the kickoff of this redesigning. It's called the County Crisis Response Initiative. And in November of 2020, they did a value stream mapping event to identify the current state of how county mental health was working and map out a new design. So this really came about from a few years of activism from some folks working within county mental health, but especially families that were negatively impacted by specifically interactions with police departments throughout the county when their loved ones were in a mental health crisis. Then 2 years ago, when Miles Hall was killed by the Walnut Creek Police Department, the NAMI Contra Costa and the Miles Hall Foundation really started this movement towards redesigning our whole county mental health system. They've been meeting regularly since this value map streaming happened last November to, there's been many different cities throughout the county attending, as well as people impacted themselves with lived experience. Not every city directly sent city staff or officers from their department or city managers to the meetings. Unfortunately, Richmond did not directly send anyone. But I'll just share a little bit about the new vision. And it's really a vision. They will not be able to implement any of it without the Measure X funding. And I do really encourage everyone to, write letters and call in and really advocate for the funding of this new county system, because it will be a huge benefit to all of us, including us here in Richmond and our new city-based crisis response team. So the new plan would have a centralized hub. Keep in mind, they have no locations picked out yet. It's very much it's almost in the pilot stage. They're doing like a soft pilot launch the end of July, but no, they're going to have more teams because they're going to have a team in each region, but in the central hub. But it's very, nothing's been really implemented or chosen yet in terms of location. It's in the design stages now and kind of the early testing stages. The most exciting part, I would say, of this new design, of course, is the fact that it's going to be a mental health system, become way more equitable and more accessible with new pathways to services and some actual new locations where people will be able to go when they're in a mental health crisis. Right now, we only have psych beds in a hospital, but they're really talking about having what they're calling kind of crisis centers. When you're in a state of crisis, but it doesn't require hospitalization. They're talking about having sobering centers, peer-based centers. So, and none of these have been developed yet. So I would say even with the Measure X funding, this is all going to take a lot of time, right? So one thing that that's been really interesting talking to folks is that the Richmond team would really complement what's happening at the county level and what the county is doing. The county also really recognizes that cities may need to have their own teams, especially because we really want to move forward and not wait for the county, right? And Concord is also right now talking about having their own team as well. So we're not the only city that by a long shot that's having these types of advocacy and conversations and moving forward, wanting to also have their own teams in their own cities. So the county really sees our team as being like a complement to them, where we have further discussions around how we would collaborate with each other, you know, and I'm really hoping that this this new initiative passes and moves forward, because when our homegrown Richmond crisis team shows up, we are going to need really great places. Any place that we recommend them for further services is going to be set up by the county of Contra Costa County. And we want these really great centers they're talking about setting up. And we want more teams. We're going to need more teams. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I have a long list of reasons why, even if the county improves services, and I'll tell you, there's just no doubt in any of us who work within this field, in this realm in West County and Richmond, we know that the services are not adequate right now. They're just not adequate at all. There's like one team, it takes, you know, 45 minutes to 3 hours to get over here. It's not very helpful. In fact, recently it's made things actually quite worse when people are having a crisis and call them. So, and we also know the need's going to be is getting much greater after the COVID pandemic. And so, you know, we're all hoping that this new implementation happens, that there's maybe more help or better teams set up, and maybe a West County team. That still doesn't even mean it's enough if we have a Richmond team and a county team. So, because the need is so great. They're calling it, and I really like this, crisis response for anyone, anytime, and anywhere. Isn't that great? That's what we all want and need. So yeah, I just thought it was important to share with you all that I'm really happy I was kind of able to attend some of those meetings and connect with the county folks, because like, as I said, we all are going to need to work together to bring the services needed to the residents of Richmond. You think if there's anything else I left out? I did want to mention that I think it's very reasonable, and this is something that our subcommittee talked about, and who have been working, you know, so you know, tirelessly on the scope of this crisis team. Is I really think what's needed are counselors capable and able to show up right after a shooting has happened and give support to the family, and know what resources are available when they're ready to hear about them. And I know that that's something Ceasefire used to do. Ceasefire really started disbanding and kind of falling apart in 2018. I know that Yanima Healing Circle tries to do that, some of that work, but it's really only one person, Ms. DeWanda, Ms. D. Stewart. So I think that we need a lot more crisis response when a shooting does happen. And I think that would be really great that that'll be under the scope of our Richmond team. And I don't think that's something county would be doing anyway. So, does anybody have any other questions? I probably forgot a few things, but I know I can't go on and on.
I think we wanted to, also with CCRP, we wanted to update on the meeting with the fire chief. And we have Sarah Cantor, who's been advising for CCRP. So Sarah, if you want to provide a little insight into that.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. Thank you so much for having me at this meeting. I've been working with the Health and Safety Subcommittee on the implementation plan for CCRP and the program design. And so we had a really productive meeting with Fire Chief Smith a few weeks ago now. It was the beginning of the process of collaborating with the city. We were grateful to get to meet with Chief Smith. Of course, the meeting was primarily about information gathering on his part. There wasn't a lot of decision making that has been able to happen yet. We haven't yet been able to meet with representatives from the city who have that authority, but it was a really productive meeting. We were able to clear up some miscommunications that had been happening along the way. A big one, for example, is around dispatch. The program plan recommended that dispatch be run through the number 311. And there, as you all have witnessed, there was a lot of assumption made about that the recommendation was that the program develop an entirely new dispatch center that would run the same way that 911 dispatch did, that we were opposed to 911 being involved. And so we were able to clarify with him that for this program, the subcommittee is absolutely in support of calls being routed through 911 and 911 being a route for residents to access this program, and that the recommendation about 311 was specifically around making sure that there is a way to access the program in addition to 911, so that for anyone who didn't want to call 911, because once you call 911, that opens up the person who calls doesn't necessarily have a say in who shows up to the crisis. So for anyone who really wanted to make sure that they got the crisis team and not another city agency, that there just be another line so that they can access that, and that number be easy to remember. And that's where the 311 recommendation came up. So just wanted to share that we were able to, and also another point of clarification was that in the city manager's recommendation, she proposed having the CCRP be housed within the fire department, and Chief Smith was able to clarify that recommendation referred to the physical location of the program, not to the bureaucratic structure, not to having it be within the fire department, housed within the fire department budget, led by the fire department, but just that the fire department might be able to offer some space for the program. So it was a good start. We're really looking forward to having more conversations with the chief and the city manager and other relevant parties. Anything I forgot? Anyone else?
I think we're good for our subcommittee as well.
I just wanted to mention that, and I hope this all really comes about and that the funding comes through for our new redesigned county mental health crisis access. But the new community crisis centralized hub is going to be called the Miles Hall Crisis Hub. It's named after him, which I think is really appropriate and amazing and moving to me. So thank you.
Thank you. So Joey, I'm going to call on you one more time because your hand's been raised and I wasn't sure if you had a question.
Yeah, I've got several questions, and I'm actually glad that I waited until now. So we've got a couple of issues. Bruce, if you're done with your turkey dinner, can you let us know where we are with a permanent fire chief?
Unfortunately, the turkey is still not done. I have not had a chance to eat it yet. However, the dog has been let out and he is no longer bothering me. As for the permanent fire chief, I can't tell you. I have not been privy to the conversations as to where the solicitation or recruitment of a permanent fire chief is. So I can't answer that question for you, Joey. Jim has his hand raised. Maybe he can tell you.
Yeah, what I can relay is I know the interviews for the top candidates were held 2 weeks ago this Friday, so about 10 days ago. And so they are, I'm sure, following up on those top candidates right now. And we could expect probably an announcement or appointment fairly quickly now.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Jim. So the reason I asked that question, Sarah, is if you haven't been made aware, Mr. Smith is an interim fire chief, which means he is not going to be around very long. So anything that he says, especially with something as important as a 311 system and where it's going to be housed and how it's going to be implemented, is really a pointless, quite honestly, a pointless conversation. I mean, he can give some very generalities, but depending on who the permanent fire chief is going to be, that's really kind of where that program is going to go.
May I respond to that?
Sure, go ahead.
Great, thanks. I think I wasn't clear. We have, it sounds like with the clarity that we were able to arrive at during that meeting, we were able to come to agreement that developing a 311 system is not necessary and is not something that the Health and Safety Subcommittee is pushing for. And the comment about the program being potentially physically housed within the fire department, that was actually based on the city manager's recommendation. And his clarification around that was simply that the city manager's recommendation referred to the physical location of the crisis response team. So where the team would be housed, where they would come and take their breaks, et cetera, not referring to the hierarchy within the city or departments. He did not offer specifically any space. There hasn't been any official offer made. The clarification was just that was where what the city manager was intending with that statement, which was pretty ambiguous in the recommendation itself. So nothing has been promised, nothing has been decided. As I said, he is not a decision maker in this process. He was just there to gather information, and we were able to get some clarity from him as well about what the city manager intended.
Yeah, thank you. And I can tell you that there's been portions of his information gathering to me based on his lack of, let me just say, his lack of prioritization for gathering the information that this committee or this subcommittee is looking for has been a little disappointing, and I know that from behind the scenes. What I can tell you is this is another reason why one of the subcommittees that I'm on has been pushing for additional dispatch positions to field those calls and actually provide space with infrastructure already in place at the communication center. And I'll leave it at that. One of the other things that was mentioned, and I've asked a couple of different times, and maybe Marcus or Kristen can respond to this. Has there been any information provided by the San Francisco Fire Department about their mental health response team that they're currently using in the Tenderloin?
No, but I'd love to look into that.
If you're referring to CART SF, that program has not yet started.
No, there's a current program. There's a current mental health program that goes through the San Francisco Fire Department that's focused in the Tenderloin.
And what's that called, Joey?
I'd have to look, Marcus. I don't have that offhand. We've discussed this. We've discussed this same program for the last couple of months, and I was really kind of hoping to get some information back on how successful and how they've implemented that program.
I think when we discussed it, we thought you were referring to CART SF.
Exactly.
But if it's a different one, then we might
Please
have to
let us
look
know.
into that. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to do some research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different than CART, Joey, please let us know.
All right, thank you. And then the last comment that I'll make is, although I see a lot of benefit to the Office of Neighborhood Safety. That's not the end all be all for violence reduction and violence prevention. And I'll just say that there are other programs that are really kind of missing the mark on potential funding sources, and most notably is ceasefire. We have folks like Tamisha Torres was part of it. Donnell Jones was part of it. Reverend Bernstein was part of it. Reverend Kellis Love was part of it, and they all did outreach in very various portions of the city. And all I'll say is ONS is just one segment of the teamwork that needs to be done to get violence reduction done. It's not just ONS, it's not just ceasefire, it's not the police department, it's a collaboration and a teamwork that needs to be done to get that done. And it's been proven, quite honestly, with the success that we've actually experienced in the city of Richmond. I was working, and I think I've said it before, I was working when we were one of the most violent cities in the entire nation. And it was nothing I could be more proud of than, as a city as a whole, to go from being one of the most violent cities in the nation to be a benchmark for how we can change things around. So please, when you talk about providing funding to ONS, I think that is certainly worthwhile, but there's other programs that have been successful in the past that need to be thought of.
Thanks, Joey. And Helen, before you speak, I would like to ask that if you're going to bring something new to the conversation and not do any rebuttals at this point, so that we're running out of time. I thought we were actually ahead of time, but we only have about 10 minutes left of this meeting, and we have 2 more groups to get through. So if
I'm very
everyone is
fast.
done from the, pardon?
I said, I'm very fast, like 20 seconds.
Okay, well, if everyone else, before you make your comment, if everyone else is done from the Health and Safety Committee actually making any presentation, I would just like to thank all of your guests for coming this evening. And I appreciate the community-based solutions guests for coming as well and providing these reports. And Helen, go ahead, and then we're gonna open it up to public comment so that we can go ahead and get to the next items.
Yeah, I was just going to say, building on what you mentioned, Joey, a quick search showed me San Francisco Street Crisis Response Team. There was a special on KPIX about it on June 4th. The program started in November 2020 and focuses on the Tenderloin Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they've been adding teams every month, with 6 teams being in place by March. So I just wanted to give that resource as we continue to look. Thanks.
Thank you. We are going to open this up now for the public to comment on the health and safety report. And the public will have 2 minutes to raise their hands and 1 minute to speak.
Joanna, if I could just ask clarification on that, on the announcement. Does that suggest that the program we thought is the same program, or are they different programs? That one in Tenderloin, is that different than the one that our subcommittee was working on? Sarah Cantor shaking your head. Yeah, I guess they're 2 different programs. Is that right?
Yeah, so CART SF is also intended to be run out of the fire department. It's not limited geographically to the Tenderloin, and that program is still in the process of getting funded and getting approved. The program that Helen referred to, the SCRT, was able to find a report of their brief from February, and it looks like their program is extremely similar to ours. So thank you for that resource, Joey, and it'll be great to have this program as another example of how this work really does work. It looks like in their first 2 months, they were able to divert 200 calls from the police department. So.
Okay, and we'll add that. We'll go ahead and add that to the resource hub.
Yeah, I'll email it to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much. It looks like we already have a speaker, so.
Okay, our first speaker is Carol Johnson. Oh, Lupe, can you share the timer?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Hey, Joanne, while we're waiting for Ms. Johnson to speak, I'll just respond
No.
to Sarah.
Okay,
Sarah
no,
and the rest
Joey,
of them.
no, Joey, you cannot. You cannot.
I'll raise my hand.
Lupe, do you want me to try to pull up a timer? Are you having issues?
Sorry, just give me 10 more seconds.
Okay. Alrighty, our first speaker is Carol Johnson. Carol, you have 1 minute to speak. You can go ahead and start.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Sorry, I got a phone call at the same time. So I just wanted to say, you know, I've been in the Tenderloin regularly because I'm a San Francisco native. And I lived there for 5 years, way back when. And it seems like everything has gotten worse there. So I'm just wondering, how long has that fire department program been active? Because people are, you know, it's like they have nowhere else to go. Before, where they had hotels that they could live in, but the hotels, some of them had fires, and then the people got put out, so they didn't have anywhere else to go. And not that long ago, I was there, and they're just like walking around elbow to elbow, just people wandering, talking to themselves. So I don't know how long that program has been, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. So I don't know if we want to use them as an example.
Thank you, Carol.
That was our last speaker. I think the 2 minute time period's over.
Okay, I'm going to end that item. We're not going to have any further speakers on that item. I would like to ask quickly if the Smart Budgeting and Resource Allocation Group has a report.
We do not.
Thank you. I would like to ask the implementation team if you have a brief report, and then we need to adjourn the meeting after we have public comment. So please bear in mind, we have 4 minutes.
Can I just say
Go ahead.
that the implementation team is in the process of solidifying a meeting date. Thank you, Linda, for allowing us a little bit more time to do that. So hopefully we'll be able to send an announcement to everybody of when that meeting is, so everybody's just aware of it. And I hope maybe by tomorrow, now that we have some new dates, that we'll actually be able to get that. So thank you, Ms. Whitmore.
Okay, so at this time, we will open up the implementation team to public comment. You will have 2 minutes to raise your hand and 1 minute to speak. If anyone has a question about or comment about the implementation team from the attendee side.
Okay, we have 1 public comment. And we get the timer, please. Thank you, Lupe. All right, Emily Ross, you have 1 minute to speak, and you can start now.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Emily Ross. I'm a Richmond resident and just wanted to extend gratitude to the members of the implementation committee. I think that work is so important, that ongoing work. So both the task force members that have volunteered, as well as the, the staff of different departments that are going to be working on that. And then lastly, speaking of staff, just wanted to thank Joanne for your years of service for our city. You've been doing good work for a long time, and we've been lucky to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone. Is the 2-minute time period up, or do we have like 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Okay. I will be honest, I watched the Board of Supervisors meeting the other day, and it made me feel not so ashamed of some of my blunders over the past, 9-10 months. So, thank you all for having me. And the only action item recap I have is that we will put all of the resources on the task force webpage. And with that, I am going to adjourn. Thank you all. Peace, love, happiness, joy, humanity, humility, all of that. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thanks, Joanne.
Yes.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you for everything, Joanne. You
Joanne, and I'm
Yes.
happy you're going to be working on equity and
best.
all this other great stuff. Woohoo!
We're
Thank
gonna
you,
miss some
Joanne.
Joanne.
Too.
We're
We'll
gonna
miss
miss
some
you.
Joanne.